We are about to get started, so I would ask everyone to take their seats. Mr. Mayor's in the house, Sam Kennedy's in the house. The big guys are here. Don't worry about the weather. We'll get through it. Good morning, everyone. I want to welcome you all this morning. My name is Steve Burton, Sports Director for WBZ TV in Boston. Thank you. I want to welcome everyone to the Urban League of Eastern Massachusetts 100th anniversary celebration and equal opportunity diversity breakfast. Don't pay attention to that. We just roll right along. I want to thank everyone for taking time out of their busy schedules to be here this morning. It means a lot. It means a whole lot, because I know so many people in this room are so busy, but it's all about giving back. It's all about making a difference. I want to start by saying this. Farmer's horse runs away. Bad luck, neighbor says. Maybe, the farmer says. Horse returns, brings back a second horse. Wonderful, neighbor says. Maybe, the farmer says. Farmer's son takes the new horse out for a ride, breaks his leg. Bad luck, neighbor says. Maybe, the farmer says. Next day, military drafts all the young men in the area except for the farmer's son. Wonderful, neighbor says. Maybe, the farmer says. The point is, you don't know what's going to happen. And God is able to take a negative situation and turn it into a positive one. And the Urban League of Eastern Massachusetts does the same thing for so many people. It's all about your perspective. It's all about making a difference. And each year, they make a difference in so many people's lives. And you get a chance to hear from people who are making things happen here in this room. They have goals, and I always want to share this when it comes to goals. Always have a goal. Because I learned this many years ago. He who aims at nothing will hit it every time. She who aims at nothing will hit it every time. Always have a goal. I'd like to bring up the chairman of the Urban League of Eastern Massachusetts Board of Directors, Mr. Joseph Feaster. Joseph is not only an attorney, he was a former president of the NAACP Boston chapter. Welcome, Joseph. Joseph, come on up, buddy.
Thank you very much, Steve. Good morning, everyone. Oh, well, you all must know I'm a Baptist. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. When I told my friends that I was going to be coming to an event where Steve Burton was going to be an appearance, and all of the folks who are at Channel 4 and all of you, they just were truly elated. So let's give Steve a hand for the job that he does each and every day. We have the pleasure, Steve, and the folks from Channel 4 of having one of your colleagues, your news director, serving on our board, and he is an instrumental member of our team. And I would just like to, Johnny likes to stay in the background, but I'm going to make him come into the foreground.
I love that.
And that's Johnny Green. Johnny Green, just wave your hand, stand and let folks know who you are.
Johnny's in the back there.
Yeah, over here. Some of these persons you are going to hear from later on as we go through the program, but it's always appropriate for us to acknowledge our elected officials and our former elected officials, simply because of the commitment and that they make in order to try to make things better for us in the Commonwealth and around this country. And I have the pleasure, and I will be introducing him to speak momentarily, to introduce my mayor and a good friend for a long, long time, the mayor of the city of Boston, Marty Walsh. I had the pleasure of attending law school with this person, but and not at the same time, she's much younger than me. But nonetheless, to attend Northeastern University, and she now serves as our Attorney General here in Massachusetts, Maura Healey. Good morning. The town of Framingham decided to become a city of Framingham and decided that they needed to have a dynamic person to be at the helm of their leadership in Framingham. And I had the pleasure, beside the fact that she's in my sister's sorority, because I'm a Q, and she's a Delta, and that is Mayor Yvonne Spicer, who is here with us this morning. Now, I'd never go, I'm not untrained, and so therefore I know that as I travel through Roxbury and throughout the city of Boston, I certainly have to. Oh, you had your finger up as if to say, oh, I'm sorry. I thought that I was giving a sign to say, don't say that. I tell you, boy, I'm a brother. I know how to pay attention. But no, this is a woman whose family I've known for some time. Her dad I worked with at Northeastern University, the African American Institute, traveled, in fact, to Kenya with back in 1971. And as obviously I can see that good things are spawned from a good family, and she now serves as the Boston City Councilor representing Roxbury, my dear friend, Councilor Kim Janey. And then there's some folks who understand that the public sector, has its benefits, but the private sector has its dreams. And so a dear friend who served for many years, first as a state representative representing the great, as one city councilor say, Dorchester, the great area of Dorchester. She then went to the upper branch, as they call it, into the Senate, and she is with us today. She is now a senior employee with Suffolk Construction, but she's a former state senator. That's State Senator Linda Dorsina Forey. And last but not least, this is a gentleman who has, in so many ways, not only through the organization that he heads, but also from what he attempts to do across the four corners of what is good in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and particularly in the city of Boston. I had the pleasure of working with his dad many, many years ago, but he has also been supportive of us here at the Urban League. As you can see, we're here at Fenway Park, and you didn't even have to pay to go out there. You had to pay to come in here with us, but in terms of out there. But nonetheless, he has helped so many organizations, including an organization I'm with called My Brother's Keeper, and that is the president of the Red Sox, Sam Kennedy. I'm just full of thank yous today. And greeting. But I think it's important because there are a lot of people. First and foremost, I want to thank all of you for supporting us. So I think you need to give yourselves a hand because Urban League needs your support. You've come to support us, so thank you. So let's give a hand for all of you. I serve with a dynamic board of directors, most of whom are here this morning. I am certainly not going to go by name, but if they can raise their hands, along with the staff of the Urban League, just to raise their hands, stand up, and let people know. They do this on a monthly basis. I can be a tyrant as chair of the board, but they accept me nonetheless. But we're trying to get the job done to make sure that the work of the Urban League now in its centennial year continues. And so, again, I want to thank all my board members who are here and the staff of the Urban League for all that they do. your support has been instrumental, and that's across the board of all of you here, and there are many of the awardees, and I want to say congratulations to all of the awardees, and I know that the president as well as Rick Iabuchi, the development person, will be speaking to that more directly, but I just want to say on behalf of the board, we're much appreciative of what you do, not only for us as an organization, but primarily the awards that you're receiving today reflect that you have a concern for diversity and issues of importance in our community, and for that, we thank you for that. The last thing I want to do before I introduce our mayor is to say to you that this is our centennial year. The Urban League of Eastern Massachusetts has been here 100 years, and I think Darnell has the exact date, but I know it's this month, either the 16th. Yeah, so we're, you know, so we've been around 100 years. Trying to do what we need to do as far as helping people get career opportunities, job opportunities. That's what our bandwidth is. I know the president and I go back and forth as far as the civil rights organization aspect of the Urban League, but they have been in the fight along with the NAACP in ensuring that folks have human rights and are respected and have opportunities in this country. So again, give a hand for the Urban League's 100th year. And just as a plug, we're planning an event at the Boston Convention Center. My good friend David Givens and his team, and Joyce, we're looking at an event in September, so stay tuned. We'll talk more about that. The person I'm going to introduce now, as I said very short moment ago, is a person I've known for quite some time. I was involved in state government when he was a state legislator. He was forthright and committed to a number of issues from the standpoint of equal opportunity and in employment, particularly in the construction trades. And when he left for a period of time and worked with the union as well in order to make sure that there were opportunities for people, and he has continued doing that to this particular day. He is doing that now as the mayor of our city of Boston. I think that he is doing an extraordinary job, particularly around the things that I'm concerned about, and I say to you that our city is flourishing. Our communities are flourishing. We have things going on in our neighborhoods. We have things which heretofore were not happening, and he's willing to be challenged. And as they sometimes say, we don't always agree, but we agree not to be disagreeable. And so therefore, I bring to you the mayor of the city of Boston, my friend, Marty Walsh.
Thank you, Joe, and I want to thank you for all the work that you do in your friendship. I want to also give Steve Burton a shout out. Thank you, Steve, for what you do every day in our city, and your family does. Donnell, congratulations on you look great for 100th anniversary. You look really good. This job's suiting you well, so I want to congratulate you. I also want to thank Joe for the chair and the board here for all the great work you do. To the elected officials were already mentioned, but I think it's important that we mention them again. Our Attorney General, who is on the forefront, fighting every single day for us here in Massachusetts, but also not just against what's happening in Washington, but also making things right here in Boston and Massachusetts. So thank you for that. City Councilor Kim Janey, we are running all over the place today. We have all kinds of events, but I want to thank Kim as well. And also I want to wish Kim a happy early birthday, which is Thursday, the same day as the anniversary. So happy birthday, Kim. And my favorite mayor in the United States of America is Mayor Von Spicer. She's unbelievable. She is a friend. She is a colleague. She is a champion. I had a chance to go down to her city when she gave her State of the City address. And she has taken a city that was a town. And you think about, people don't think a lot about what's going on in Framingham. Framingham is a gateway city. Framingham is a city that's diverse. Framingham is a city that has challenges. Framingham is a city that has a lot of good stuff going on, and she's at the helm of it. So thank you, Mayor, for being here with us today. And my last thank you, and Joe thanked everyone. I wanted to thank Sam Kendi as well. Sam does do a lot in the city of Boston in so many different ways, but We had a meeting probably about 6 months ago in my office, and we were talking about My Brother's Keeper, and we were talking about taking My Brother's Keeper to the next level. Those of you that don't know what My Brother's Keeper is, just in case, it was an idea that came from President Obama, that he created an opportunity for young boys, black and brown boys, and how do we do better outreach and better programming for black and brown boys in America. And Boston took up the challenge, and we went through the first couple of phases, and the next phase was that we needed to get some financial support to really take My Brother's Keeper to the next level here in Boston and be the leading chapter in the country. And one of the people that I said, let's give Sam Kennedy a call. We called Sam. His response was, "What can I do for you? How do I help?" And he's been an active member and participant. And I want to thank Sam because he's a great leader here in the city of Boston. And he's also turned the Red Sox season around. So thank you for that, Sam, too, as well. We don't win enough in this city, so we need to keep going. And everyone here, all the past members and people, I look around this room, I see so many great leaders in the city of Boston that have really changed the conversation. And thank you for being part of this incredible organization. An organization doesn't last 100 years if it doesn't have commitment and dedicated people. An organization doesn't last 100 years if it doesn't have vision. An organization doesn't last 100 years if it doesn't have a defining process. Doesn't achieve and accomplish issues and accomplish difficult challenges. And I want to congratulate Donnell for that. And I want to congratulate the Urban League for the last 100 years of working as a leader in Boston on a movement that's important. I also want to thank the Urban League in Boston for the last 5-year partnership as mayor of the city of Boston, working together on issues like community police relations, working together on issues like economic development, working on issues like workforce development. It's not always a pleasant conversation. Sometimes it's a difficult conversation, as Joe said. Last week, I talked to Donnell very briefly, but it was a difficult conversation in a way because the story came out about the contracts in the city of Boston. And those things, you can't sugarcoat that. The facts are the facts, the numbers are the numbers. But one of the things that whenever I talk to Donnell is that he says he'll see his piece in the beginning and I'll say my piece, but then it's how do we get to work and make a change? How do we actually make a difference? And I want to thank him for his friendship over the last 5 years and his leadership of that in the last 5 years. When I see him sometimes at events, the first thing he'll say to me, I wasn't in the paper this week. You didn't see me in the paper commenting. And I laugh, but if we don't have organizations that holds governments and people's feet to the fire, you really can't have change. You can't have advancements. You can't have that. And that's what the Urban League has done for a long time in this country, but also in this city. We want to continue to make sure we make opportunities available for everybody. Development in Boston, as Joe mentioned earlier, it's about creating opportunities. The linkage that we have coming in from these projects that are going in Boston is going into workforce development. Urban League of Massachusetts has been one of the organizations that we depend on to provide training in customer service and technology skills in the tools of the 21st century careers. The careers we have today are different. 10 years ago, we would say, let's get people into the building trades, and we still should. But as we walk around the city of Boston and we go to different buildings, we see tech companies and startup companies. Why shouldn't we be able to get people of color, young people of color, into those same careers that everyone else is in? And that's what we have to continue to work on. We can't settle anymore. We can't settle anymore. It's not just about a job. It's about a career. It's about an opportunity. It's about creating real opportunities. And that's what the Urban League has done for the last 100 years. And it's evolved into the 21st century economy. Thank you for giving people meaningful ways to contribute to progress in the community and making a difference. I also want to just give a shout out to Kathleen Wilson, one of the star volunteers. I want to thank Kathleen. The Urban League has made real progress in the city of Boston, and we've made real progress together. We have made Boston a leader of cities, and we still have a lot of work to do, and our work will never be complete. But the data shows that people are experiencing it and seeing benefits, and we need to continue to amplify that work and move that work even more. That's what the Urban League does every day. So I want to thank everyone who's been associated with the Urban League for the last 100 years. There are people that aren't here today. They're gone, they left us. But they had a mission 100 years ago. If they didn't start this organization 100 years ago, who knows where we would be? So I just want to, on behalf of myself and Councilor Janey from the City Hall, we want to thank you, Donnell, and also the board and all of the folks associated with the Urban League. I have a proclamation, which I'm not going to read the whole thing because we do have a pretty, I think there's a pretty long speaking process, but I just want to say, whereas the Urban League of Massachusetts, Eastern Massachusetts, led by CEO Donnell Williams, is a steadfast pillar in our community and our city. It will continue to advance the goals of equity for all Bostonians for many years to come. And until injustices that we face our society are forever banished, now I, Mayor Martin J. Walsh, Mayor of the City of Boston, and City Councilor Kim Janey, do hereby proclaim Tuesday, May 14, 2019, Urban League of Massachusetts Day in the City of Boston.
You know, I want to thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's before we move on just for a second, I got to tell you something. When the mayor comes up and I see Sam Kennedy in the room, I get emotional because these guys care. I mean, these guys care. We can call Sam up. Sam will do anything for us. Some people just talk the talk. Mayor Marty Walsh, Sam Kennedy, these guys care. And they get things done, and they really care. So it touches my heart when I reach out and they reach back. And this city is getting better and better each day. We got a long way to go, but we're getting better. I'd like for you all to turn your attention to the video board for a brief message from Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker.
Good morning, everybody. This is Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker, and I'm very sorry I can't be with you this morning over at Fenway to help celebrate, among other things, the 100th anniversary of the Urban League of Eastern Massachusetts. I also want to give a big shout out to my friend Donnell Williams for the leadership and the commitment and the steadfastness that he's brought to this organization for over a decade. The Urban League of Eastern Massachusetts has been an incredibly important cultural, economic development, and skill-building enterprise here in the city of Boston for a very long time. And the fact that it's been in business, helping people, solving problems, and building stronger communities for 100 years, I think speaks to its ability to change with the times, adapt to circumstances, and to continue to be relevant year after year after year. Again, congratulations to the Urban League of Eastern Mass. I'm sorry I can't be with you. I'm sure I'll see you at some of the Urban League's events over the course of the rest of this year as they continue to celebrate 100 years of doing great things for people here in the Commonwealth and in the city of Boston. Have a great day.
Governor Charlie Baker. I'd like to bring up Massachusetts Attorney General Maura Healey. Maura.
Well, good morning, everybody. Short. I want to thank you. Thank you, Steve, for leading this morning's wonderful program. I want to thank all of our friends and Sam Kennedy at the Red Sox for everything that they do and continuing to show us such commitment to our communities. And, you know, the Red Sox and the Red Sox Foundation have always found ways to be there, new and innovative ways. You are always there. And not only do you thrill us with what's happening on the field, you really help take care of everybody and raise everybody up. So, Sam, many thanks to you and to the organization. I'm also really honored to be here with Mayor Walsh. As Steve said, I think it's clear that we are so lucky to have a mayor, and I am so lucky to be able to work with a partner in government who truly does care about people, including those who are vulnerable and marginalized. And it's really nice to be able to work with somebody who understands fundamentally that not everybody's born on third base. And there's a lot we need to do to right that. And so I want to thank you for your leadership and your compassion on so many fronts, Marty. To Joe and to all the members of the board, thank you for the wonderful work that you do for this organization and beyond. And to Darnell Williams, what can you say about Darnell? There aren't enough cameras for you yet, Darnell. Not enough pictures taken of you yet, but we'll get there. You have been such a friend and such a force, and you really have this ability to speak truth to power, to say things that are uncomfortable, but not in an uncomfortable way, to make it accessible to people who are in positions where they might be able to do some things and work together in partnership, and I really, really appreciate that. And we are celebrating the Urban League, but we are understandably celebrating you here this morning, so thank you. And to Mayor Spicer, who is a force, it's been great working with you. You're doing great things in one of our most diverse and happening communities in the state, in Framingham. Thank you for all that you do. And our great friend, Councilor Kim Janey, whose life story, whose advocacy, and whose work today as a city councilor and as a Boston resident, I'm the beneficiary of that. Thank you for always being on the right side and leading us in the right direction. And happy early birthday to you as well. Congratulations to today's honorees: Keolis, State Street, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Vertex, Comcast, Liberty Mutual, Suffolk Construction, and Mass Mutual. Really terrific awards and recognition, and I appreciate the commitment that your organizations have made to diversity and inclusivity, and ultimately finding ways to level the playing field. And I think that in particular, our business organizations, don't wait for government. Business organizations right now, boards have an ability to drive change, transformational change in this country. And I say that with all sincerity. I hope you use today as an affirmation, take it back to your teams and let them know how important this is. And I hope that you double down on the commitments, the wonderful commitments that you've already made. Congratulations, too, to the Guild members. I know Kay Wilson is here, who also shares the distinction of celebrating 100 years herself. Hard to believe, but let's give it up for Mrs. Wilson. 100 years old, same age as the Urban League of Eastern Mass. There's a fellow, Carl Vickers, who's 95. He probably thought he was going to win out this year. Carl is a winner. Just take a look at him. I want to give a shout out to Carl Vickers, served in the United States Navy, fought in World War II, and a 53-year member of the Guild. So for years, 100 now, the Urban League has been about making our communities better. Going into communities, giving people the skills that they need, the support they need to succeed. Job training, financial literacy, helping folks grow and live independent lives. I'm stunned by the numbers. Over 4,000 people receiving job training and advocacy services every year. 1,000 people graduating from your professional skills training courses and programs. You are giving people hope, and you are giving people opportunity where too often and for far too long, doors have been closed. I had a great conversation this morning with Sydney Janey, yes, a cousin. And Sydney has been active and engaged for a long time, but as a graphic designer, she's taken her graduate school education and is leading one of the programs through the Urban League, teaching graphic design. And if you look at today's program, I thought it was great. One of her students who graduated designed that logo for the 100th year anniversary. Another student is overworking at the MCAA, and that's exactly the kind of partnership and what the Urban League makes possible. But here's something that Sydney also told me that disturbed me. She said they've got plenty of placement opportunities. There are jobs out there and employers willing to hire. They don't have enough people going through the program, and the reason for that, she said, is because they lack confidence. because they haven't been shown a way or seen enough of a path forward that this is out there for them. And I think that speaks to what is incumbent upon all of us, to give people confidence. And you only give people confidence. You can't lecture them. You can't talk to them. You got to empower them. And I think that so much of what the Urban League has been about as a mission has been about empowering people. But hearing Sydney say that today, I'm going to take that back and think about the confidence that we need to give our young people. And that's going to come through showing them that certain things are possible and that doors that have been far too long closed are open. And finally, I just want to say something about the work that I think is incumbent upon all of us. You know, I believe that as a partner to you, the Attorney General's office, we're the people's lawyer, the people's law firm. It's really important that we continue to be there to fight bigotry, to fight racism, to fight systemic discrimination. So if you're a person who has been the subject of discrimination, if you've been profiled, if your wages have been stolen by an unscrupulous employer, if you're a dreamer today scared about what's going to happen, if you're a consumer taken advantage of, if you're somebody who has been wronged out there, please continue to call my office. We're working on a number of fronts, including implementing the new criminal justice reform law, which is really about breaking down barriers and creating opportunities. So I want you to know that work is going to continue, and I want to hear what we can do. But I also think, though, that we need to do a couple more things. And in particular, I think that we need to find ways to hire and empower people of color in numbers never seen before in this country, all across this city, all across this state. I'm here today with April English, who's chief of my organizational development and diversity program in the office. And I understand fundamentally that unless you apply and really make intentional efforts to hire, recruit, and train and retain, you are not going to get there. And each of us in this room, through our organizations and employers, have an opportunity to do that. Seeing is believing, folks. Seeing is believing, and that's what all of us have the opportunities to do. When we go back to our offices today, when we go about the day, I want you to notice the diversity in this room, and notice the diversity lacking in other rooms. And let's commit today to address that in all the ways that we can. And finally, I think it's important, too, that we acknowledge the disparities that have existed, because without acknowledgement, we're never going to, as a nation, reform the policies that need to be reformed. Discrimination and degradation, 400 years in the making. Urban League, 100 strong years. But put that up against 400 plus years of discrimination, systemic discrimination in this country. It's not insurmountable. It just points to the work that we've got to do. And that's going to come about through people working together, business, government, the philanthropic community, the NGO community, right? That's what we've got to drive towards. Steve and Sam know something about competition. And we know that in order to compete and in order to win, it's all about the building blocks. It's about the foundation. So addressing disparities that exist across healthcare, employment, criminal justice system, education, you name it. These are the things that make for strong communities. So I apologize for taking the moment to speak to some of this. I certainly am here to celebrate the amazing and wonderful work of the Urban League and its mission. But I also want to think about today as an opportunity for all of us to go forth and drive that message about the need for reform, the need for change. It's all possible. It's something that we can work together on. I look forward to partnering with you in the weeks and months and years ahead with great hope for creating more opportunity for more here and all across this country. Thank you.
Wow, you know, I love being around smart people because it rubs off on you. Thank you very much, Maura Healey. And one of the things that she pointed out, confidence. Confidence is so key. And one of the things my dad taught me is give people encouragement. Anybody know what the definition of encouragement means? To encourage? Anyone in the room? You hear the term all the time. I'll tell you. Give courage. That's what it means. Give courage. She brought up the word confidence. You can go out and leave this place and help someone out today by just giving a word of encouragement, to give courage. Thank you, Maura Healey. Thank you. The mayor of Framingham, Ms. Spicer, come on up. What you may not know, or you may know, I grew up in Framingham. I grew up when Framingham was a town, and it was the biggest town in the United States. It is now a city. And I want to say thank God for you. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning. I bring you greetings from my great city of Framingham, the newest baby in the United States. And Steve didn't tell you, what brought me to Massachusetts was a job to teach. And I taught his brothers. Both Phil and Paul were my students in Framingham. They were wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. They're great. And you know, it has been said this morning, first of all, gratitude to all of the people that work every single day to move the needle for the others. And Marty Walsh said, I was his favorite mayor. I think we're having a love fest because he is definitely one of my favorite mayors. And from the moment I was elected, Marty made a phone call to congratulate and said, whatever I can do to support you, I will. And he's lived up to it every single day. I am grateful for his leadership in the city of Boston. And as I say oftentimes, you know, Framingham is learning how to be a city. But we know how to be a community that loves, that has a big heart, that gives and shares with one another. We are diverse. We are also very strong. We are the home of some major corporations like Bose, Staples, TJX. We also have amazing partners in the life science industry. And we are growing by leaps and bounds. If you take a drive through Framingham, you'll see new construction, new homes being built, new housing, first new housing in downtown Framingham in over 40 years. And by the way, we are a T-stop away from Boston, so come on downtown Framingham. I also want to say, being a kid that grew up in the struggle, I hail from Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. So if you know Brooklyn, you know Bed-Stuy. And the one thing that I had growing up was parents that believed in me and my siblings and encouraged me to always do my very best. And my best led me to a career in the fields of STEM, particularly technology and engineering. And I believe very strongly as I lift, I need to bring others along with me. So in the words of my Congresswoman, the late Shirley Chisholm, when there wasn't a seat at the table, she brought a folding chair. And what I say now to people, not just bring a folding chair for you, but bring a chair for another sister. Bring a chair for somebody that doesn't have the same opportunities or didn't see the vision. And most importantly, using my seat as the mayor of Framingham to grow those that have no other opportunities, that have been marginalized and left behind. I am on a big push in my city right now to hire the first ever Director of Diversity and Inclusion. It was denied last year by the City Council. I'm fighting like heck right now to make sure it happens. Because if you don't take the veil off of what has been done, you don't grow. And you have to take the veil of disparity off and making sure that when you walk in the room, look around the room, look who isn't there. Not who's there, but who is not in the room. And you need to go get them and bring them into the room. So I do that every day in my city. I love being the mayor of Framingham. 1 year, 5 months, and 14 days, and going strong. And I look forward to continuing to partner with organizations like the Urban League, because together, I know everybody brings a piece of the cloth. And like my grandmama and like many of your grandmamas used to do, she used to take those pieces of cloth and sew them together. And eventually she had a beautiful quilt. And that's how we grow as a community. That's how we grow as a society. We cannot rest on our laurels, and we cannot listen to the noise that is always going on. We need to continue to build community. And I'm a partner in that work. And so know that Framingham's mayor and the city of Framingham wants to do its part to continue to grow and flourish. So thank you. And I am so excited about all of the award winners today. So.
A lot of wisdom in the room. Thank you. Mayor Spicer, thank you so much. As for our first co-presenting sponsor of the Centennial, I would like to invite Bank of America Representative Claudius Zoricon, Commercial Associate Bank of America Merrill Lynch, and co-chair of Bank of America Boston Black Professional Group. Bank of America is a longtime supporter of the Urban League of Eastern Massachusetts and its programs. Claudius, come on up.
Good morning, and thank you so much, Steve. On behalf of Bank of America, I'd like to congratulate the Urban League of Eastern Massachusetts on this special morning, and of course on this momentous occasion, your 100th anniversary. I'd also like to respectfully acknowledge and thank Mayor Walsh, Governor Baker, Attorney General Healey, and all the elected officials here in this room who work so tirelessly to ensure that everyone in Massachusetts has an opportunity. Bank of America feels truly privileged to call the Urban League a partner in our shared commitment to advancing racial and economic equality here in the greater Boston area. Whether we're collaborating on workforce programs such as MSIMBO coding program, or providing career coaching and financial literacy to your clients, we're honored to play a small role in advancing your critical mission. Darnell, your vision and leadership toward championing equal opportunity and diversity in our region is unsurpassed. We're grateful for the work you and your team do every day to create healthy, vibrant, and sustainable neighborhoods. As a major employer, Bank of America knows that diversity makes us stronger by enabling us to understand and respond to the needs of the clients and communities in which we're so privileged to serve. So it's not just the right thing to do, it's the smart thing to do from a business perspective. Nevertheless, we know there's still much work to be done, and mornings like this serve to invigorate and inspire us to continue the fight. And on that note, we'd like to extend our congratulations to today's Equal Opportunity awardees, all of them very deserving. Together, we truly have the power to inspire change. Congratulations again to the Urban League on this important milestone. We're grateful for our partnership with the Urban League, and we look forward to continuing for years to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Our next co-presenting sponsor, Eastern Bank Representative Marion Green Robinson. She's Vice President of Bank Manager of the Stoughton location. Eastern Bank is also a big-time supporter of the Urban League, and they too love to give back. Here she is now. Come on up.
I don't know if this can get any shorter. So thank you for having us. We're glad to be here this morning. I'm happy to be representing Eastern Bank and celebrating Urban League's 100th anniversary. So I'll just start off by saying at Eastern Bank, there are many things we are proud of, being the largest and oldest mutual company in the country. Also, we are the #1 small business lender administrator in New England for the past 9 years, as well as in Massachusetts for the past 10 years. We also have been recognized for the top place to work by Boston Globe for the past 10 years. And just recently, we opened our Roxbury location, which has been a year today, as a matter of fact. And the branch manager for that office, Judine Williams, is over there as well. Say hi, Judine. She was more than happy to share with me that the branch has already accumulated over $18 million in deposits. So Roxbury is doing very well. Yes, that's very excellent. However, at Eastern Bank, we are especially proud of the Eastern Bank Charitable Foundation, where we have committed to donating 10% of our net income to the communities that we serve. To put that in perspective, since 1999, we have donated $120 million, yes, for over 1,600 nonprofit organizations like the Urban League of Eastern Massachusetts. In fact, my colleagues and I have volunteered 50,000 hours annually to show additional support for the communities that we live, work, and serve. So it's an awesome job for Eastern bankers. We have, for the past 15 years, worked with Darnell in the Urban League, doing good in the communities by championing for equal opportunity, diversity, and inclusion. And we understand we still have some more work to do. We have a phrase at Eastern Bank that says, join us for good. But really, we want good things to help people prosper. That's why at Eastern Bank, we're happy to be partnered with the Urban League and supporters of their program. So thank you, Darnell Williams, Chair Joe Feaster, and all of my fellow board of directors. We appreciate all that you do. Thank you.
Thank you, Marion. Our third presenting sponsor, TJX Companies, should be recognized as well. Unfortunately, TJX couldn't be here, but they wanted to relay this message, quote, TJX Companies is happy to be a sponsor for your 100-year anniversary. TJX is one of the region's largest employers and is committed to inclusion and diversity. Their approach is to have their associates feel welcome at work, valued for their contributions, and engaged with their business. My friends, this is the first time in the program we'll announce the Equal Opportunity and Diversity awardees. I want to ask Liberty Mutual to come up and accept the award. Liberty Mutual. Amari, tell everybody your name.
Amari Aarons, Liberty Mutual.
All right. Thank you. We're going to move this program along. I want to ask Suffolk Construction to come up and accept their award. Thank you very much. All right. I would like to ask the Equal Opportunity Champion of Champions awardee, Comcast Representative Jackie Gadsden, Vice President of Diversity and Inclusion and Customer Experience, to come up and accept the award and say a few words. Jackie?
Good morning. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here. Again, my name is Jackie Gadsden, Vice President of Diversity and Inclusion and Customer Experience at Comcast. I want to thank all my Comcasters who are with me today. I want a big shout out to my friend Darnell. Congratulations. Love you. I want to thank Derek Young, who's in the room, or excuse me, Derek Brooks, who's in the room, who sits on the board of the Urban League. From a D&I perspective at Comcast NBC Universal, we don't just talk about it. It really is a part of our DNA. We have 8 ERGs, employee resource groups, that we've launched over decades. Locally, we have 6. We're about to launch our 7th by the end of this year. We are the first division across Comcast NBC Universal to launch a diversity and inclusion advisory council, which I lead. So we are making progress. I just want to share a few stats with you. So overall, 61% of our workforce is diverse. 50% of our vice presidents and above are women or people of color. 52% of our employees report to a woman or a person of color. And then lastly, I'll just share that Comcast NBC Universal has been ranked #1 and #2 respectively for Fortune's 100 list of best workplaces for diversity. So thank you. It's an honor to be here.
I know we're on the clock here, so I'd like to now bring up 3 diversity awardees. Blue Cross and Blue Shield, would you please come up? Blue Cross and Blue Shield. State Street Corporation, come on up. People from State Street. And of course, Vertex to come up as well. Vertex? I'd like to ask diversity awardee Keolis representatives David Scory, CEO and General Manager of Keolis Boston, and Gerald Francis, President of Keolis Boston, to come up and receive the awards.
Hey, Gerald. Good morning. I'm David Scory. I'm the CEO for Keolis here in Boston. And firstly, congratulations to the Urban League of Eastern Massachusetts on this centenary. Thank you to Donnell for all of his work. And genuinely, it's absolutely awe-inspiring and humbling to be here on this occasion in such company. Let me just tell you a little bit about the railroad industry. I've been in the industry for 31 years. And it's an industry that traditionally, historically, has been dominated by males and by white people. And it's an industry where people tended to get into the industry through family connections. So it was an organization industry that perpetuated itself in its own image. At Keolis, we're determined to change that. That's why 38% of our new hires are from minority backgrounds. It's why we're continuing to work to increase that number and to change the constituency of our organization. And we've been working hard on that for the last 5 years. And we're doing it because it's the right thing to do, but we're also doing it because it makes absolute, perfect business sense. A more diverse organization is a stronger organization. It's an organization where differences contribute to solutions and creates a better dynamic and better results. So for us, That's why we would say, don't go breaking that, don't go breaking that. That's why we would say that diversity has contributed to a 22% growth in passenger ridership over the last 5 years, to a 25% growth in passenger revenue, and that's why this year we're delivering the best on-time performance that's ever been delivered. And it's all because of the contribution of the people. So we're going to continue to work on this. We're very proud to be recipients of this award, and thank you once again.
I'm going to raise this up. I'm a little taller. But I just wanted to take a moment to, sorry about that, David. I just wanted to share some things with you, with Mr. Williams there. Keolis was awarded a contract to operate the MBTA commuter rail system back in 2014. And Darnell and my path crossed sometime before July of that time. And he told me, he said, you know, we need to sit down and have a brief moment so we can talk about the Urban League and some other things. Now, if some of you know Darnell, that is not a brief moment. I think when I met him, we were in the room for about 2.5 hours just talking about a lot of different things. But one thing, a couple of things that we left the room with is this. He said, Gerald, you know, we have to have career opportunities for our young folks. You know, I want them to learn more about the transportation industry, the careers involved out there. And you just heard David said that 38% of our new hirees are people of color. But more important than that, it's the inclusion part that I always talk about, including them in what we do day to day, exposing them to what's done day to day, and we have to continue to do that. David said he's been in the transportation business for a while. I have too. And I'll tell you this, somebody gave me an opportunity way back when, I won't say when, but way back when, and I took that opportunity. It's important for me to give that opportunity back, and we're working extremely hard to do that. The other thing is, and my colleagues know that I talk about this a lot, it's called Keolis Commuter Services, KCS, but I like to refer to it as Keolis Community Service. Mayor Walsh was here, Mayor Spicer, and I still call her my senator, Senator Forey, is that we work closely together in the beginning to find out a little bit more about the communities because we were new kids in town. And we did that. We're continuing to do that. And we're giving our commitment back, but we're learning more each and every day. And you know what? We're getting more involved. The community is getting involved. The mayors are getting involved. And that's an important thing for us. And last and finally, in 2016, Keolis has now a scholarship program led by Rita Hardiman, our Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer. And we contribute $25,000 per year and give out 25 students a $1,000 scholarship. And this year would be our 4th year, Rita, and we will put over $100,000 into that scholarship fund. So now in our brief meeting, I did listen, I heard you, but we'll continue to work harder. Thank you very much.
Great job, guys. Thank you. It's time now for the moment to bring up the president and CEO of Urban League of Eastern Massachusetts, Darnell Williams. Darnell is currently the longest active president. I'm not saying he's old. He's just the longest active president and CEO of the Urban League of Eastern Massachusetts. In 2018, he received his honorary doctorate degree of Humane Letters from Worcester State University and his honorary Doctor of Law degree from American International College. Ladies and gentlemen, the man of the hour.
We promise not to keep you long, but do me a favor. Let me grab my note. It's been stated before, but let me underscore that Sam Kennedy, president of the Red Sox organization, State Street Steve Duncan, the Convention Center, David and Joyce, you guys have been phenomenal. The logo that you see up there, they're also producing the 100th anniversary booklet. I mean, I could not say enough for the work that you guys are partnering with us in order to make this this anniversary or this centennial. Well, let's give them a round of applause on that. Mayor Yvonne Spicer, to AG Healey and Mayor Walsh. We have Representatives Tony Richards Jr. and Mike Vasquez representing the Baker-Polito administration that is here with us this morning. Let's give them a round of applause. I can go on, but let me just be real brief because I'm standing between you and the door. My message is real simple. At the bottom of that screen, you're going to see something called membership. You will get one of these pins if you become a member today. That's supposed to be a joke, y'all. But really, the thing that I want to do on a very serious note, I'd like to have Kay Wilson come up here just real quick. Let's give her a round of applause as she's come. As 100 years. I don't think we can say it enough for somebody that's turning 100 at the same time that we're turning 100. Kim Janey's birthday is today. The Urban League is our birthday is today. I have a citation for you, Kay Wilson, from the State Senate. But 100 years, I have 3 things that she has said. I'm going to give you her secret. Turn this way, Miss Wilson. What is it? The 3 things that she said. Whoa. The 3 things that she has been the secret to become 100, and y'all should listen. She said, you need to have compassion. You need to have movement. That means you need to dance. And she's got rhythm. And periodically, you need to have a Manhattan. Let's give her a round of applause.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's her birthday.
The cake is coming.
The cake is here.
Oh, where's the cake?
Sing.
All right.
Let's have a birthday.
That's all right. Are we going to do the Stevie Wonder version or are we going to do the regular version?
You're the boss.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Kay. Happy birthday to you.
Blow out the candles? Blow out the candles? Yes. Yes. All right.
I couldn't ask for a better. Let's give her another round of applause as she goes. I will be less than 2 minutes. 100 years ago, people who had started this organization. So my words are for your ears. My message is for your hearts. My point is for you to take action on what you have heard today. There were people who took a risk to start this. Black and white came together to deal with the issues of the day. How ironic is it that we are here 100 years later, black and white, brown, red, and yellow, doing the work, honoring those individuals who started this organization. They learned how to build alliances. I believe Jim Rooney, the president of the Boston Chamber of Commerce, is in the room. Is Jim still here? If not, let's give him a round of applause. They built alliances across borders. They became mature and they had optimism. When we see the challenges to our democracy and the economic disparities that we're facing as a society, but we should not listen to what that is, and it should not be at the expense for hope for a better tomorrow. Today, your presence tells me that you have hope for a better tomorrow. Thank you for joining us. But before I just close in this last statement, let me give a shout out to the staff of the Urban League that's in the room for helping me, making sure that this stuff goes well. Thank you for joining us. And for 100 years of the Urban League of Eastern Massachusetts, happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday, happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday. Just to let y'all know, I got skills. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Darnell. In closing, I just want to say, we're going to get out the door now, but I got to thank my news director, Johnny Green, for allowing me to be here this morning because he has turned around our station. He's my boss, and without him, I'm not here. So I want to thank the Red Sox, Darnell. We want to continue to do what you do. God bless you. Go encourage someone. God bless you all.